When I was in USS, I felt the energy. I felt that powerful CUNY energy that was necessary in order for me to succeed, thrive, stay alive in those shark infested waters because a lot of people are small fishes in big ponds. A lot of people are medium sized fish in big ponds, and some are big fish in small ponds. USS was such that it was a bunch of big fish. And it was great. It was cool. It was nice. When the time came for me to do anything within USS, a lot of people were thinking about who's going to be chair, who's going to be vice chair of anything, really, and how things will pan out for the future of that USS year. Well, I didn't realize that some people, or a good amount, was leaning on me or wondering if I was going to be a vice chair of some position, of any position of that matter. Huh. Imagine if I was running for chairperson? Boy. Well, when I made the statement to certain people that I wasn't actually planning to run for anything within steering, which is basically the vice chair positions and a chairperson position, some people were shocked. They couldn't believe it. They said, you not running for a vice chair position? I was like, nah, because people need me in my current position at City Tech, which was vice president of student government. We had a good amount of people from City Tech already in steering at this point. If I were to leave, things would be really rough. Not gonna lie to you, things would have been really rough. Not to say that none of those people who were already in student government couldn't do something, but things were just not looking fantastic, to be honest. So if I were to leave, and we already had two people gone, that would be very tough. That would be really tough amongst the leadership in City Tech. So I made a conscious decision not to run for anything really in USS other than just being a delegate. But what about chairperson? Okay, vice chairs? No worries, I understand. Chairperson. Hey, your boy did it. Chairperson and president? You could do it too, right? Well, when you also look at the other side and think, do you want this? Do you really want to be a USS chairperson? There are a lot of people who would love to be in that position, but don't know how to really handle it because the requirements and taxing of things that you have to do on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis, is a lot. It's like being president as a student in CUNY. It's a lot. Don't get me wrong. But it's a serious position and a powerful position at that. The only thing is, it's not because it was so taxing. I understand it's taxing. It was already taxing being vice president of student government. It's not because the pay wasn't great. I mean, of course there's pay, but that's not what you're really running for, right? If you're being a moral, honest person. It's not because maybe I didn't want to step up to the plate and help the CUNY students abroad and show that I can lead you into the next year for the future and stand up for all your rights and make sure everything works out. That's not the reason why. The reason why, personally, I didn't want to be chairperson, I just wasn't interested. I wasn't hungry for that position. I wasn't thirsty for it. I was not interested in running for that position at all. It didn't give me anything to look forward to. It seems selfish, but a lot of decisions depend on self too. You can't make every decision that's always going to be for everybody else. You also got to take care of yourself. So, what would have done for me, honestly, if I was chairperson? To me, nothing, because I didn't feel it would progress anything that I really wanted to do for the future. It might have progressed other people's futures because in their future, it works out and aligns well. But for me, it didn't do much. Chairperson, It's not to talk down to chairpersons from before. It's just saying I was not interested. I just wasn't. I wasn't hungry, thirsty for it. So yeah, okay. Next. It's cool being a USS delegate, but other than that, I wasn't thirsty for it. You look at being vice president. Well, the environment was cool and nice at that time, I guess. When leaning into things and what I did outside of City Tech, I chose personally to be vice president because I actually wanted to help students out and give them hope that there's a better future. But when I stepped into the role and realized that there's a lot that you have to balance out between administration and students, oh boy. Wow. Honestly, I think if the position of Black Male Initiative Intercollegiate Student Council president was available, and I had a choice between vice president of student government, or I had to choose BMI Intercollegiate Student Council president, I would have chose the latter. You know why I would have chose the latter? Well, first of all, I've said this before. I've actually said this to several people who actually asked me why I wouldn't run for student government before I ran for student government. And I said, when you're running for student government, everything is mostly already set. Administration's already set. Students, you already understand what's going on. There's not much room to move and change a big amount of things except maybe a few. You could toe the line and push things and push as far as administration will let you, but can you go above and beyond? Not really. Not at all. You can do a little bit, but you can't do that much because you're dealing with administration. Students have to understand too, but unfortunately, they're on the outside, looking on the outside. You know the saying outside looking in, but except this is not looking in. You're looking outside of the, you're just looking. They don't really know what's going on unless you tell them. Unless you actually tell them what's happening. It's tough because you're only a group of people with, I don't know, a daily amount of, we were what, 7, 8 out of, if we're going to count daily, 3,000 students a day? How are you going to get around when you got to do schoolwork, when you got to go with meetings, when you got to talk to your team, when you got to do this, that, the third? Yes, it's taxing. But, as I said before, and let me bring it back, I would have rather be president of the BMI Intercollegiate Student Council if that was a choice I had to make between the two, because that was a chance to actually build and grow and learn how to fail and succeed. There's so much opportunity. The world is yours, and you can actually see how to build, how to navigate, how to negotiate, how to network, how to actually expand. Of course, yes, you're going to be watched, but you have an opportunity to do something more than what you're left with. And that's the biggest difference. There's growth. You can actually do more. In a student government, I couldn't do more. I can only do what was up to chance, and that's it. That's it. So yes, I would have honestly rather be the president of that. I know deep in my heart, I could have killed that. I know myself. It would have honestly worked. But it's okay. That was the environment that led the hand, and I was dealt with the cards, so that's what happened. I don't regret the time I was in student government, but I was much more thirsty for the other position if it was open to me. Let's switch gears a bit. I've been in New York for a long time. I've been in New York for such a long time, it feels like an eternity. So, what do you do in New York? You travel among the 5 boroughs, except the Bronx. I'm joking. Not really. You go amongst the 5 boroughs. Oh yeah, you don't go to Staten Island either, unless you really have to, by the way. Anyway, I digress. You go amongst the 5 boroughs. You go meet your friends. You go to restaurants. You go to movies. You have a good time. You go to their house. They come to your house. You do school. You do activism. You do all these things. New York City is such a melting pot that it has everything you need there. Everything. I mean everything. So let's start with my neighborhood. My neighborhood has a bunch of food spots. Well, yeah. You know what? This is great. You could go outside, go to the corner store right there, boom. You get some snacks and you out. There's a Kennedy Fried Chicken spot, boom. You go get your little chicken, your little fries, whatever, boom, you come back. There's a vegetable store down there. If you want to do some choppy, boom, you get that vegetables and bam, you know? If you are in fiends for junk food and you want to go to a spot, go to Burger King right there, boom. You get that. You want to get some pizza, boom. You just go across that block, bust a left, boom, right there. Subway, pizza spot, Chinese food spot. Oh, you can't forget your Caribbean spots, jerk chicken across the street, jerk chicken when you bust a right, and there's that Caribbean food spot right there. It's all there. But what if you wanted some healthy food? I'm not talking about pesticide healthy food. I'm talking about real organic food. You're going to have to go out your way and get it. You're going to have to go out your way and actually search to get it. And are you willing to search to get this food? There are farmers markets at Prospect Park, in certain places around Brooklyn, but are you really willing to go? Or would you rather it come to you? In the time that we have many food delivery apps, it seems like we would just rather it come to us. So, when I'm here and I say, damn, I want some organic food, but then I think about, shoot, do I want to go to Prospect Park today? Do I want to go every Saturday and search and dig up for some organic food? What if the farmer's market's not there on that Saturday? Can I go to another spot? Will I keep digging to search in my pursuit of very organic food that I hope has no pesticides at all? Yeah, your mind just plays with you, Or is it really just the environment that plays with you? Because everything you have is right around you. Everything I got is right here. But guess what? The environment, unfortunately, has pushed me to not go too far out here. Not too far when it comes to food. Because it's right there. And I know some of you feel the same way. Because it's right there. Why are you going to go all the way across town for some organics? You could just get it here. And it's not organic enough, but you'll settle. But that's the biggest tug of war. You don't want to settle. You want to actually fight. That's that willpower. You want to go and face it head on and tackle it. That environment holds you back a bit because it's so convenient. When I went to Miami, Florida last year, I've said in a previous episode that I went to a place that nobody at that time, if they were watching the news, would like to go because of Covfefe. But you know what? I went anyway because guess what? Shoot. You know why I went to Miami? To break the comfortability barrier. That's right. That's why I went. That's a big reason why I went. Okay? That's a big reason. And when I went there with my friend, I went there and I thought to myself, this is a new environment. Let's see how it plays out. Had a nice house. Everything was nice. But guess what I had to do? Ride my bike. A bike, right? Had to walk to a certain place. And trust me, in Florida, walking, well, I would not suggest walking unless you're really willing to do so. But guess what? That environment leads you to do things that you're not used to doing. You're stepping out of your comfortability zone because things are now out your way. Whereas in New York, things are all in your way. I cooked for myself. Not to say I don't cook, but I don't do it too often in New York. I do it just enough, but I don't do it too often because everything is here. Everything is here. If it's necessary, I'll do so. If it's needed, I'll do so in New York. If I feel like it, I'll do so. But if it's not necessary, I don't need to do it. That's that environment that's kicking. But in Florida, in Miami, where everything is mostly out the way, except a few things, yeah, I decided to pursue cooking more. Became a 4-star chef out here, you know what I mean? And I did what I had to do. There were times I was in that house and I decided to learn how to do new things. Learn how to live alone. Learn how to be alone. Because I had to adapt to the environment now. It's different. It's new. But I like that. It's challenging. It makes you do things that's outside the box. That's what I wonder for everybody who's listening. Can you do stuff that's outside the box while your box is so comfortable to stay in? Do you have that willpower to say, even if I'm in this box, I'm going to break the box while I'm here? Or do you feel like you have to get shipped to somewhere else to break that box? Because I feel that I have to get shipped somewhere else to break the box. That's how I feel. I felt that I've got too comfortable in one spot. Not to say that I haven't done things where I break the barrier in this same spot. I have. But to move to the next level, of my life, I feel as if I have to actually be somewhere else. And that might not be everybody, but that is how I feel. That environment that I am in right now doesn't make me feel thirsty enough. When I left student government, yes, I disappeared. I was mentally fucked up. I was tired. I ran out of gas. I was out. But it was a necessary means to an end because I had to go. It was not comfortable for me to just dip, really. It wasn't great. I didn't feel good just leaving and disappearing. I didn't feel great. I felt uncomfortable. But when the results came back, it has manifested into what you hear currently right at this moment. If I did not leave, who knows what would have happened as my progression becoming a more free human being would have occurred later on, maybe. Or maybe I would have still been stuck. Who knows if I did not leave CUNY behind me and all the CUNY politics behind me, who knows what would have happened if I just stayed in that bubble. Some people, it works for them, but it doesn't work for me. I'm a person who truly cannot stay in one thing all the time. I could do multiple things at the same time because I'm interested in multiple things. But I don't want to stay in one environment all the time. It gets boring. It gets dull. It gets tiring. Do you really want to be in an environment all the time? If you do, kudos to you. I'm not here to shame you about it. If that's what works for you, that's what works for you. For me, it doesn't. I wasn't thirsty anymore when I was in student government for that period of time. I wasn't thirsty anymore. I had no thirst to do even more than I did already. I had no thirst. There was nothing to accomplish other than changing the Constitution, which was a big thing. I gotta congratulate everybody who did that, though. But other than changing the Constitution, there was nothing really there to do. As I said, if I was in a intercollegiate student council president role, there's so much I could do because there's so much to explore. But not in this role. After I realized in 3-4 months, there's not too much to do. I wasn't thirsty. A part of it, other than me disappearing to save my mental health, was mostly more to change the environment and to do something new. Yeah. I understand how environments can make or break a person. I understand how things can be if you've been in an environment for so long that you're just the product of it. So when you see those people that are on the street selling dope, doing crazy stuff, partying all night long, you might want to think for 1 minute that's probably the product of their environment. Could they change it? As I always say, it's up to the individual. Sometimes you do need help, though. Sometimes you have to tell them, I need help. I need the help so that I could be pushed in order to get to the certain place, because I feel as if I stay here, it's not going to work out if I do it by myself. Sometimes you have to say that. And sometimes when you get that push, you are going to probably learn how to do things by yourself after a while. It's like having training wheels on a bike. You ride and you pedal and you learn that there's balance, and ride until they take the training wheels off, and they don't tell you. In this case, they just say, here you go, in their head, as they let you go. And they make you think you have the training wheels, but you realize you don't anymore after a while. And you're like, wow, I didn't even ride with my training wheels. And they're like, yeah, they smile. Because now you're not the product of the environment no more. Now you have made the environment. You have created your own environment. And now you take your own environment wherever you go. That's that goal. That's that great goal. In life, I think you should stay hungry. I think you should stay thirsty for certain periods of time, because there's so much that needs to be accomplished that you would like to do, that I would like to do. But you have to be hungry and thirsty for it. And if your environment doesn't feed you, maybe seek some help if you feel like you can't do it by yourself. Or if you do have the willpower, or feel as if you could dig deep to do it yourself, then you go ahead and you dig deep. If it takes 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 months, if it takes a certain amount of time to get your mind into this frame, this state, that you have to dig yourself out in order to get yourself into a certain space where you know you're going to grow, you find it and you do what you need to do. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. There's still blocks and roads that I need to pave and obstacles I need to get over. And I have to tell that to myself each and every day. But I'm getting there. I'm not here to lie to you and tell you I'm already there. I'm getting there. But it was better than what it was before. I can tell you with all my heart, it was better than what it was before. And I'm happy where I'm at right now. I can always adjust and change. And I would like to adjust and change and be better as an individual, as a business person, as my true self. But in order for me to do that, in order for you listening out there to do that, we have to be thirsty. We have to create our own environment. And in due time, we will be better for it. You will be better for it. I will be better for it. I'll be happy for you, and I hope you'll be happy for me. This environment is a dog-eat-dog, nice, tough, weird, crazy, egotistical, sensational, amazing, calming, anything you could think of. It's all of that, wrapped in one. But trust me, be hungry, be thirsty, sometimes test yourself. Maybe starve yourself a little bit to really see what it's like to be hungry and thirsty. And then see if you can understand how to move. Remember, the environment is a big place or it's a small place. But it's a tough place. It's a learning place that you need. It's a learning place. And in that place, we're here to grow. So grow.